As we continue to talk about preferences, I think it's important to review that you can change your keyboard shortcuts for Premiere. Now, at this point, if you're brand new to editing, you're probably not even concerned with keyboard shortcuts. Frankly, you don't even know how to interact with the interface properly, let alone set up keyboard shortcuts for certain commands. But I think it's important to review it from the beginning so you're aware that this option exists. And if you're moving from other nonlinear editors like Media Composer or Final Cut Pro, you may want to tweak some of the settings inside of Premiere to mimic the behavior of those editors. So how can you change keyboard shortcuts? Well, here on the Mac, you'll come back to the Premiere Pro menu and you'll choose Keyboard Shortcuts. If you're working on a Windows machine, you'll go to the Edit menu and choose Keyboard Shortcuts. Now, this opens up a dialog box, and you can see there's all sorts of keyboard shortcuts already set up for you. You can easily scroll through this list to see what's already been configured by default by the engineers at Adobe. But again, you may find that you want to assign a keyboard shortcut to a particular command. Maybe you're performing the same operation 3, 4, 5 times within an editing session. And if that's the case, a keyboard shortcut may be in order. So as I scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll notice I'm looking at the Tools section. And the Tools section has some default keyboard shortcuts that resemble default keyboard shortcuts in other Adobe applications. For example, the Selection tool, which is the Selection tool right here when you're working within the timeline. In order for you to access this tool using a keyboard shortcut, you'll use the V key, much like you would in something like Adobe Photoshop. But again, if you want to make changes to any of these keyboard shortcuts or assign keyboard shortcuts to commands that don't currently have them, that's completely possible. You'll notice right now I'm working in the Adobe Premiere Pro default keyboard layout preset. If you access this drop-down menu, you'll notice that Adobe has configured other layout presets for you. For example, you can work with the Premiere Pro CS6 preset. Or, if you're moving from Media Composer, you can use those keyboard shortcuts. And if you're moving from Final Cut Pro 7, again, those keyboard shortcuts are available to you. Now, if you are making the transition from one of these other editors, I would suggest spending some time learning the Premiere Pro keyboard shortcuts if you can. And the reason for that is, as Adobe iterates Premiere Pro, the keyboard shortcuts may move along with those updates. And you'll be better suited to work with Premiere Pro natively using the keyboard shortcuts that Adobe had in mind in terms of how people will work with Premiere. But again, it's completely up to you. So if you want to make a change, you can simply select the shortcut. It looks a little strange. You'll see a little X here, but once you click on it, you'll notice it becomes highlighted, and that means that you have the ability at this point to remove the shortcut altogether, or you can change it. Now, if you change it using a keyboard shortcut that already exists, Premiere Pro will let you know. For example, if I type in A here, you'll notice a warning appears down here towards the bottom, which reads the shortcut A was already used by the Track Select Forward tool command. That command will no longer have the keyboard shortcut. So if you do want to make that change, this will no longer have a shortcut. So typically you want to avoid that. I'll go ahead and press V again to set it back to its default shortcut. If you scroll up, again, if you find that you're using a particular command that doesn't contain a keyboard shortcut, you can easily add one. Now, if I come over here and select this command, the toggle maintain pitch during shuttling command, and again, if this doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. As soon as we start cutting inside of Premiere, these commands will make more sense. You typically don't have a single key that you can use because most of them are already occupied by other commands. So if I type in T, for example, you'll notice I get that same warning. But as you begin to add modifiers, the likelihood of that keyboard shortcut being available increases. So if I hold down the Control key and the Option key and the Command key and I type in T, you'll notice I certainly can use that keyboard shortcut. And as soon as you make a change, you'll notice that the layout preset changes to Custom. There's also a nice search field here. So for example, if you're working with trim commands, you can type in trim and you'll notice all the trim commands become visible. If you're happy with the changes that you've made, you can always come over here and click Save As, and at that point, you can name this layout preset whatever you want. I'll go ahead and type in Matt's preset so I know what it is. I'll click Save. Once I click Save, you'll notice it's available within this menu. If you have it selected and you no longer want it, maybe you are working on a particular project and that project is completed and you no longer need that layout preset, you can always delete it by clicking the Delete button. You'll get a warning dialog box asking you to confirm this operation. I'll go ahead and click OK, and that keyboard layout preset has been removed. So again, it's probably not all that important right now for you to come in and customize these keyboard shortcuts, but it is important to realize that that capability exists. So as you work with Premiere Pro, if you feel the need to set up your own keyboard shortcut or customize the existing ones, you know that that's completely possible.